For this project, we're using two-dimensional wet media such as watercolor, tempera paint, acrylic paint markers, and so on and so forth. It's all about layering. So our first layer is going to be a really abstract, washy, wet-on-wet watercolor technique. We'll first test out our brush and our wet-on-wet technique in our sketchbook just to kind of get the process down. Notice how I'm just dropping in the paint. I'm not overworking the colors. I can use gravity to let those colors flow, or we can always splatter. The first step is to wet your paper with just regular water. That way you have a wet surface for those watercolors to blend out, creating really soft blended edges. I'm going for a really abstract look, just kind of focusing in on warm colors. Notice how all my warm colors bleed together in a really cohesive, unified way. That's because they're analogous. They're really similar. For this layer, I would definitely use analogous, similar colors and try not to overwork those colors. Notice how I'm not using any brush strokes. I'm just dropping the colors in. I'm splattering the paint in a really controlled and balanced way and just letting those colors flow. Always clean out that brush before you switch colors. Again, I'm trying not to add too many colors here because overworking too many colors, like more than two at a time side by side, it's going to turn your colors muddy, especially if you're using opposite colors like cool and warm. My first layer of watercolors are dry, so now it's time to block in some more shapes with tempera paint. This is a great time to really embrace texture and layering. So let's first practice in our sketchbook. White paint is going to be your friend today. It's going to help you blend colors and also create lighter tints. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is emphasize my subject matter. I'm creating an abstract golden spiral painting. I don't have any like natural parts to it, so I want to trace those first or outline those shapes first. Everybody should outline their shapes first. Now, sticking within my warm color scheme still, I'm blocking in shapes. I'm dabbing and stippling some textures in there. I'm also creating some like streaky brush strokes. This is your chance to layer and have fun. So just remember, please don't press too hard. That's going to create a waxy buildup. Pay also attention to color value. Noticing I didn't see enough contrast, so I'm going back and adding some of those darker tones within that warm color scheme. Again, this is a great time to embrace abstract textures with different lines and remembering not to cover up your watercolor, but enhance that watercolor. Whether you're blocking in solid shapes or creating more streaks, save black paint for last to really push and deepen your value. Just some things to remember, guys: texturing with that cross-hatching, with the stippling, mixing colors by blending while still wet, mixing in white to create some lighter tints. You can also smudge or use like a drag effect with your fingers, or you can just dry brush. This is your chance to really focus on creating that second layer with shapes. Line and shape details in our artwork is kind of like icing on the cake. So for our last layer, it's all about those detail, line, shapes, patterns, highlights, shadows, using our favorite Posca paint markers. Just some things to remember about Posca paint markers. You can fill in flat color, small shapes. Also, this paint is opaque, so you can layer light over dark. Just let it dry in between. And specifically, these Posca paint markers are great for like line work, patterns. Think back to using Zentangles. You can do some dry blending colors quickly while it's still wet, but just be careful with that. I've already shaken gently with the cap on. Always test out on your sketchbook before drawing. We tried some different hatching, cross-hatching, stippling techniques. for my artwork. As I said before, I'm embracing just like abstract designs. So I am creating some cool little Zentangle patterns, but you can also hatch or cross hatch to model some of those like 3-dimensional shadows, especially if you want like your natural object to look 3D. In short, whether you are creating abstract patterns, outlining and emphasizing different shapes, adding texture to your natural objects like you see here, or even emphasizing white highlights and deeper shadows with black or a darker color, use your Posca paint markers safely and effectively. Remember, don't shake too much, especially with that lid off. It's going to create a splatter. Don't press too hard. It'll damage that point. And then if you need to, clean that point between colors.